You think time speeding up as you age is just a feeling. But why does a year feel longer at 10 than at 40? What makes each decade compress faster than the last? Most people say novelty or routine. They repeat words. But that's not an answer. When you really ask why, you find something that changes how you see consciousness itself. Let me show you. Start with something simple, a birthday candle. You're 5 years old, you blow out the candles. That year, the one you just lived, represents 20% of your entire existence, 1/5 of everything you've ever experienced. Now you're 50. Same candle, same year. But now, that year is 2% of your life. Same duration, different proportion. The year didn't change. The clock didn't speed up. But something fundamental shifted in how you perceive that duration. Time isn't speeding up. Your measuring stick is expanding. But wait, why would proportion matter? Time is time, right? A second is a second. An hour is an hour. Physics doesn't care how old you are. Except your brain isn't a clock. It's a comparison engine. You don't count seconds. You compare new experience against accumulated experience. And there's a law for this, something scientists discovered over a century ago, that explains everything from why you can hear a whisper in a quiet room but not at a concert, to why a candle matters in darkness but disappears in daylight. It's called the Weber-Fechner law. Your perception of any stimulus, sound, light, duration, isn't linear. It's logarithmic. You don't perceive absolute differences. You perceive proportional differences. Here's what that means. If you're holding a 10-pound weight and someone adds 1 pound, you'll notice that's a 10% increase. But if you're holding 100 pounds and someone adds 1 pound, you won't feel it. Same absolute difference, different proportion. Your brain works the same way with time. At age 5, 1 year compared to your total lived experience is enormous, 20%. At age 50, 1 year compared to your total experience is tiny, 2%. Same absolute duration, radically different proportion, and your brain registers proportion, not duration. That's why the year feels shorter. Not because time sped up, because your denominator got bigger. You're comparing each new year to an ever-expanding baseline of accumulated experience. Every year you live makes the next year proportionally smaller against the total. It's mathematical, inevitable, built into how perception itself works. But that's not the whole story. But wait, why do vacations feel longer than routine weeks, even for adults? You've experienced this. You go somewhere new for a week, you come back and it feels like you were gone for a month. But a random week at work, you blink and it's Friday. So what's happening? Memory encoding density. Your brain doesn't record reality like a video camera. It compresses, it summarizes, it creates markers for novelty and discards redundancy. And here's the key. Your perception of how long something lasted is retrospective. You're not measuring duration in real time. You're judging it afterward based on how much memory you encoded. Novel experiences create dense memories. Detailed markers. Lots of information to store and retrieve. Your first day at a new job. Your first time in a foreign city. Your first kiss. The brain treats these as important, worth encoding in detail. Routine creates sparse memories. Compression. Your brain recognizes patterns and skips redundant information. The 100th time you drive to work, no new information, no detailed encoding. The brain summarizes, did the usual thing. One study measured this directly. Participants kept detailed journals tracking unique, memorable moments each week. During novel experiences, travel, new skills, unfamiliar situations, people averaged 15 to 20 distinct memories per week. During routine weeks, 3 to 5, same 7 days. Wildly different encoding density. This shows up reliably across diary studies and retrospective duration experiments. And when you look back, dense memory feels like long duration, sparse memory feels like short duration. Think about that. A week of vacation full of new sights, sounds, experiences generates rich, detailed memory. Feels long in retrospect. A week of routine work, same commute, same desk, same meetings, generates compressed memory. Feels short in retrospect, same clock time. Different memory encoding, different perceived duration. Now, here's where it connects to aging. As you get older, each year becomes more similar to the last. You've seen more patterns, experienced more situations, developed more routines. Your brain recognizes the repetition and compresses more aggressively. Childhood is almost entirely novel. Every experience is new. First time seeing snow, first time swimming, first time reading, dense encoding everywhere. Years feel long. Adulthood trends toward pattern recognition. You've done this before, seen this before, felt this before. Sparse encoding. Years feel short. Time doesn't speed up because you're getting older. It speeds up because you're encoding less. But here's the part most people miss. Most people treat this compression as loss, something to mourn, the vanishing of childhood wonder, the acceleration toward the end. But there's another way to look at it. Here's why. Imagine you experience time linearly instead of proportionally. Imagine every moment of your life from birth to now weighted equally in your memory and decision-making. Every childhood experience as vivid and influential as yesterday. Every teenage emotion as present as this morning. A 40-year-old trying to make a decision would have to integrate 40 years of equally weighted memories. The time you fell off a bike at age 7 would influence choices as much as experience from yesterday. Fear of the dark at age 4 would shape behavior as strongly as adult knowledge that darkness is safe. The system couldn't adapt, couldn't update models, couldn't learn. Because learning requires weighting recent information more heavily than distant information. It requires provisional compression. It requires the past to fade in influence so current knowledge can guide action. Logarithmic time perception appears optimal for a learning organism. Recent experience needs to be weighted more heavily than distant past. Childhood gradually fades in influence so adult knowledge can dominate. The past compresses so the system remains functional in the present. Without proportional compression, growth becomes difficult. An ever-expanding, equally weighted archive of experience with no way to prioritize, update, or adapt. The compression isn't loss. It's the architecture that makes learning possible. And this is where the frame widens. Let me bring this together. Time isn't just duration. It's the structure of how consciousness builds models of reality. There are two kinds of time. Objective time, the time physics measures, is uniform. A second is a second. An hour is an hour. Unchanging, universal. The time of clocks and orbits and radioactive decay. Then there's subjective time, the time you experience. And that time is proportional, comparative, constructive. It's not a passive reception of duration. It's an active process of compression and synthesis. Your brain doesn't record reality. It builds models, predictive models, models designed to anticipate what happens next based on what happened before. And to do that efficiently, it has to compress the past. It has to weight recent data more heavily than old data. It has to discard redundancy. It has to summarize patterns. It has to make every new experience proportionally smaller against the accumulated whole, so the system stays responsive, adaptive, functional. The speed you feel, the acceleration of years, is the side effect of continuous model updating. It's the signature of a learning system that can't afford to treat all information equally. You're not experiencing time, you're experiencing the process of becoming. Think about that. The compression is the mechanism. The learning is the function. The acceleration is the evidence that the system is working as designed. Here's what this actually reveals. You're not a thing observing time. You're a process that creates time from experience. The you at 10 and the you at 50 aren't the same system. They don't share the same weighting. They don't construct the same models. You're the accumulated compression itself. Now here's the key, the data supports this. Studies on time perception show the pattern consistently. Researchers ask people of different ages to estimate how long a minute feels, how long a year feels, how long their life has felt. The results appear remarkably consistent across cultures, languages, backgrounds. Young children tend to overestimate short durations and underestimate long durations. Older adults tend to do the opposite. When you map the curve, it often approximates a logarithmic function. This pattern aligns with what Weber-Fechner principles would suggest. One study published in a peer-reviewed psychology journal tracked thousands of participants from age 10 to age 80, asked them each year, how fast did the last year feel compared to the year before? The acceleration was measurable, predictable, mathematical. By age 40, the average person reported years passing roughly twice as fast as they did at age 10. By age 60, approximately 3 times as fast. By age 80, approximately 4 times as fast. The pattern approximates a logarithmic curve, not just subjective impression. Measurable pattern, and neuroscience evidence supports this. fMRI studies indicate memory encoding density decreases with age for routine tasks and increases with age for novel tasks. The brain appears to encode less detail as patterns become familiar. The compression seems to happen at the neural level. The data and the experience align, but here's the second proof. One researcher ran an experiment with adults in intensive skill training, learning to juggle, learning a new language, learning to dance, measured their subjective time perception before and after. Result? Participants reported weeks feeling longer, months feeling longer, time subjectively expanded, same biology, same age, different encoding density, which demonstrates the point. The compression responds to pattern recognition. Increased novelty correlates with altered retrospective duration judgments. The data suggests routine and novelty affect encoding differently, which shifts how duration feels in retrospect. You think you're a thing that experiences time, a static self that observes the passage of duration, but that's not what you are. You're not a thing, you're a process, a continuous, adaptive process that constructs the sensation of now from the compression of then. The you at 10 and the you at 50 aren't the same. They're different states of the same process, different weightings, different models. You're not watching time, you're constructing it. That's what time speeding up really means. Not that the universe changed, that you changed, that the process generating subjective duration evolved in response to accumulated experience. And here's what becomes visible. The universe runs on one clock. Objective, uniform, indifferent. Seconds tick by at the same rate, whether you're 5 or 50. But you run on another clock, subjective, logarithmic, adaptive, a clock that bends and compresses in response to what you know. And somehow you can understand the difference. You can stand outside your own perception and see its machinery. You can recognize that your experience of time isn't time itself. That's the strangest part. A process that perceives duration by compressing experience and can observe itself doing it. Not comfort, truth. Time didn't change, you did. And the fact a process can understand the machinery generating its own experience, that's the real mystery.